In the halls of Congress, time and taxpayer money are finite resources. But what happens when a committee, tasked with oversight of the government's most powerful tools, decides to spend its time on what some are calling political theater instead of genuine investigation? A recent hearing provides a stunning example of this tension, revealing how procedural frustration can be turned into a powerful political statement. The core question becomes, is this accountability or is it a calculated distraction? Let's look at the key exchange that reveals everything.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. It is interesting that we're talking about bypassing Congress. It seems like that's all that has happened, actually, this Congress. In fact, it's why we've had to spend so much time in courts. And thank God that we at least have one branch of government that has decided not to abdicate their duties and has decided that there are things such as, impoundment. And so when Congress does make a decision or does sign something into law or has been signed into law by a president, that you can't just bring in your good little friend who helped you get elected to the tune of $300 billion or $300 million and say, hey, guy, you get to do whatever you want to, despite what these duly elected people have done. But I digress. But I am going to get back to Elon, because Elon is looming over every single Doge hearing. You know why? Because that's supposedly what Elon was heading up. But now they don't want to talk about Elon, because Elon now is a little upset. There's a family spat that's obviously going on, and it is going to play out, it seems like, all over Twitter. But nevertheless, let's talk about some of the things that we should be talking about. And you know what? Every time I come in here, I really do wonder, what is the point? Like, why are we here? Because it doesn't seem like we're doing efficiency, right? Like, have we seen Elon? No. Have we seen anybody that works for Doge? No. But we're in the Doge subcommittee and we're talking to everybody but the Doge people. So to hear the comments about Stacey Abrams, it really got me going. And a lot of times when we come into this hearing room, it's all about politics. And it made me think that there was an issue most likely with Stacey, because someone actually brought up the fact that Stacey has run for governor a couple of times, and it seems like there's a gubernatorial race that's coming up in Georgia, and nobody knows whether or not Stacey is going to run. So why not muddy the water if we can to hopefully keep a strong black woman down? But again, I digress. So let's talk about the things that we could be talking about while we sit here in the Doge committee. It seems like we could be talking about things like efficiency or oversight. When announcing this hearing, the chairwoman stated the Doge subcommittee would, quote, continue bringing long overdue transparency and accountability to those who abuse tax dollars. But so far this Congress, Republicans have focused their oversight responsibilities on things like defunding Big Bird, as well as attacking, of course, trans kids, because they're really the big threat that we have. We could be talking about how the Trump administration is ignoring these court orders, supporting American citizens, or targeting members of Congress for prosecution, or how Trump signed an order deregulating the cryptocurrency industry just as his family launched a digital currency. We could be having a hearing on how Trump fired members of the National Labor Relations Board for bringing a suit against Elon Musk, or how the Trump administration dismantled the Office of the Federal Contract Compliance while the office was investigating Tesla for alleged racial harassment, or how Trump dropped lawsuits against numerous large companies after they donated to his inaugural fund. We could have a hearing on whether Trump violated the emoluments clause when he not only, it seemed like he asked for a $400 million jet from a foreign government. Trump has put a for sale sign on the lawn of the White House and has allowed wealthy donors to dictate how the government operates. That's what we should be having a hearing about, but nope. They're here attacking nonprofits that deliver food to seniors and disabled folk, provide child care and elder care for working families, job training for teens, and shelter for the unhoused. The Republicans and their witnesses have accused nonprofits of being, quote, radical and, quote, addicted to government money. And listen, I try to find agreement where I can. So I am going to say that I absolutely do agree with that statement to a certain extent, because there is a nonprofit by the name of the Heritage Foundation. And last time I checked, the Heritage Foundation, they are the authors of Project 2025. And we are living through the hell of Project 2025 right now. And something tells me that that's a bit of a partisan thing, because they said it was the conservative playbook. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't know why we would ever look at the Heritage Foundation and think that it's anything but radical and, quote, addicted to government money potentially. So Ms. Yentl, before I do that, I'm gonna come to you because I wanna make sure that I get these things on record. I have a unanimous consent, Madam Chair. It says Donald Trump allegedly asked aides whether Elon Musk's Doge promises were all bull, and then you know what the rest of it is. Unanimous consent?
Without objection.
Thank you so much. I have another one from CBS News. Despite Trump's promised cuts, U.S. spent more than $200 billion more in the first 100 days than last year. If some reason we focused on some efficiency, we may have more money to work towards this deficit that some of my colleagues say that they're concerned about. And I guess, Ms. Yentl, I'm gonna run out of time, because if we were gonna focus on this deficit, then maybe you wouldn't have your own friends coming out and talking about how we're gonna have to lift the debt ceiling $5 trillion, because how else can we pay for the billionaires to keep more?
Representative Jasmine Crockett's approach here is a masterclass in strategic redirection. She begins by acknowledging the committee's stated purpose: to bring transparency and accountability to those who abuse tax dollars. But then, instead of engaging with the hearing's immediate topic, she methodically builds a case that the committee is failing its own mission by ignoring far more significant issues. Her strategy is to create a stark contrast. On one side, she places the committee's focus: attacks on political figures like Stacey Abrams, nonprofits that serve seniors and children, and what she calls partisan distractions. On the other side, she lists a series of serious, concrete allegations against the former Trump administration that she argues are being deliberately overlooked. These include ignoring court orders, deregulating cryptocurrency as the president's family launched a digital currency, and dismantling an office that was investigating Tesla for racial harassment. This tactic serves to reframe the entire proceeding. Crockett suggests the hearing isn't about good governance, but about settling political scores and muddying the water ahead of an election. The context here is crucial. She repeatedly refers to the DOGE subcommittee, pointing out the absurdity of holding a hearing supposedly related to Elon Musk without actually hearing from Elon Musk or anyone from his company. This highlights two central themes she develops. The first is the weaponization of the committee itself, using its power not for oversight, but to target political opponents and keep a strong black woman down. The second theme is strategic neglect, the idea that the committee is intentionally avoiding difficult questions about its own political allies, while manufacturing outrage over lesser issues. This moment in the hearing is more than just a heated exchange. It's a window into a fundamental debate about the very purpose of congressional oversight. When a committee is formed, it is granted significant power to investigate and hold the government accountable. However, that power can also be used performatively. Think of congressional oversight like a powerful spotlight. The critical question is, where is that spotlight being aimed? Is it illuminating genuine waste, fraud, and abuse of power? Or is it being used to create shadows and political distractions, targeting opponents while leaving allies in the dark? Crockett's argument is that the spotlight is being pointed in the wrong direction. She flips the accusation that nonprofits are addicted to government money by pointing to the Heritage Foundation, the authors of Project 2025, suggesting that large, politically connected organizations are the ones truly wielding influence. This transforms her 5 minutes of questioning into a broader commentary on what she sees as systemic hypocrisy and a dereliction of duty. So, what are the key takeaways from all of this? First, congressional hearings are often a form of political messaging, not just neutral fact-finding. The questions asked and the topics chosen are designed to communicate a specific narrative to the public. Second, the strategy of highlighting what is not being investigated can be an incredibly powerful tool to expose a committee's perceived bias and challenge its agenda. And third, the core conflict here is over the legitimate use of taxpayer-funded oversight. It forces us to consider where the line is between holding government accountable and engaging in a partisan fishing expedition. This leaves us with a critical question. In an era of deep political division, how can citizens distinguish between genuine government oversight and politically motivated theater? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this analysis helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video.